Hello, my darlings. Today I want to talk to you about why failure can be fabulous. And trust me, before I go on any further, I get it. I know that voice in your head that's screaming right now. I don't want to fail. I can't be a failure. Listen, promise you. On paper, I'm one of the biggest failures you'll meet. I mean, I've two marriages that ended in divorce. I was nearly bankrupt a few years ago. I was morbidly obese. I had all the health problems. Um, the list goes on. I was single mom of three girls, struggling on my own. I don't think I did a very good job of parenting. I mean, like, honestly, when I look back at my life, I could be considered, had business that failed, could be considered the biggest failure. But here's the thing, failure will not kill you, I promise you. But your fear of failure will keep you from success. That much I do know. So again, failure in itself won't kill you, but your fear of failure will stop you being successful. Now, there's an old saying that says, "Don't let success go to your head, but don't let failure consume your heart." And it's very, very true. We're so worried about failure. When we fail, we feel like people are just going to be talking about us. We worry about what people think. We get heartbroken. But here's why failure can be good. And I really want you to take this on board, because if you can embrace failure, what I know for sure is you're much likely to succeed, because it's, as I said, it's that fear of failure that prevents us from taking the steps, from putting ourselves out there, and from taking the steps that we absolutely need to succeed, whether it's wanting a promotion at work, whether it's going out with the cute guy or the cute girl that we really find attractive, asking them out, whatever it is. And especially in business, by the way, um fearing it will not make anything better. So I'm going to convince you in the next few minutes, fingers crossed, why failure is actually fabulous. Okay. So, first and foremost, failure is a reality check. Okay. If you failed at something, if something didn't go right, if your business went under, if you didn't pass an exam, it's a good idea to sit back and think, was this actually the thing that I should be doing? Because sometimes we do things that we think we should do, or we do things to please other people, or we do things because we don't have we didn't figure out a better solution to whatever we're doing, or we didn't figure out a better way of spending our time. Like, some people go to university because it's expected of them, or because they don't want to start a job yet, but they didn't even consider why they went. Okay. So first and foremost, failure is a reality check, sweetheart. Failure, if something didn't work out, consider that it wasn't supposed to. So for example, two failed marriages. Why? Because I married two wrong people. True story. Neither They were both utterly different from each other, but neither of them suited me. Neither of them brought out the best in me. I had a business that failed. Why? Because it wasn't really what I was supposed to do with my life. It wasn't my calling. It wasn't something that lit my soul, that made the world a better place, that I excelled in. I was okay at it. So sometimes it just says to you, you know what, sweetheart, this wasn't for you. And that's okay. Because imagine if you'd lost a year but people go, yeah, but I've invested a year of my life in that relationship. It can't fail. Yeah, but sweetheart, what happens if it was 20 years? What happens if it was 50 years of your life in a relationship that didn't do it for you, that wasn't working? What happens if you kept plugging away to business that never took off? Sometimes it's better to just, let the losses go. Let the loss of investment, the loss of time, the loss of energy just go. Just bless and release it. Okay. And realize that sometimes we just have to the, we made choices, or we tried stuff based on the information that we had available at that time. Okay, so forgive yourself, bless and release, do whatever it takes, and move on. Reason number two why failure is fabulous is because the lessons you learn are priceless. I sounded like a bit like pricey there, didn't I? But they are absolutely priceless, truly. I am the woman that I am today because of the experiences that I've had. It's simple. If I hadn't have gone through domestic violence, growing up with an alcoholic mum, going nearly bankrupt, failing at business, battles with addictions. If I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't be half the woman I am, and I certainly wouldn't even remotely be the coach that I am. When I coach women now, I've coached women from all over the world, and they can't shock me. Not that they're trying to deliberately, because that would be weird. But they can't shock me because I've been through it. I've either most of the times I've done it myself, I've been through it myself, or I've coached women that have been through it. But I'm the coach that I am because of all my life experiences. That's why I'm a life coach. Does that make sense? So lessons are priceless. Everything in your life is a lesson or a blessing. Some things are just a blessing straight out. Okay. Other things are a lesson. And either way you win. When you look at it as failure, you lose. If you look at it as a lesson that you've learned, you win. Which one do you want? Okay. Number 3. This is my favorite. Life is not a one shot only deal. What do I mean by that? If you've had a failed relationship, that's not the only relationship you get to ever have. If you failed in a business, try again. If you went for a promotion, you didn't get it, go for the next one. You know, you don't fail if you don't give up. Truly. Okay. So this isn't like this didn't succeed and that's the only chance I'm ever going to take. There's always another chance. There's always another idea. There's always another person. There's always another job. There's always something else. Okay. So please, please, please understand that. Don't give up, sweetheart. If you never give up, you've never failed. Okay. Number 4, it builds resilience. People talk about strength. I don't like strength. I like resilience. Strength says, big girl pants on, crack on. I can see the problem over there. I'm just going to sweep it under the carpet and it'll all be okay. I'll just ignore the problem. That's strength, which is fine. And sometimes we do need strength. We need to just deal with the situation at hand. But the problem with strength is it ignores the problems. It doesn't deal with the problems, and then they pile up. You can imagine if you kept sweeping everything under the carpet, sooner or later you ain't going to be walking on that carpet. Okay, because it will be like this high. So resilience is bounce back ability, and failure builds that, because if you can bounce back once, you can bounce back twice, you can bounce back 3 times, you develop this character that just says, okay, next, I can do this. And that's so important. It's so important. Okay. So failure builds bounce back ability, it builds resilience, and it's fabulous. Number 5, it realigns you with your goals. So 2 things can happen. If you fail at something and you give up and you're like, nah, it wasn't really for me, that's fine. You go and you redo your goals again. If you fail at something and it hurts so badly, and I mean like long-term hurt, not ego bruise, not people pleasing bruise, not kind of like just an inconvenience. I'm talking hurts your soul. That right there is telling you something. And maybe you need to try it again. Maybe you just need to change direction. All right. Failure just means that there's something that you need to learn, or there's another direction you need to take. It doesn't mean that you lay down and die. That's not failure. Okay. And failure is such a huge important part of sex. Let's take a female tennis player. Let's have a look, for example, one of the most famous tennis players of all time, Serena Williams. Okay, she has failed so many times and continues to fail, because if you don't fail at sport, you don't get better. If you don't miss that point, how do you know how to improve your serve? If you don't return the ball properly, how do you know how to get better? You have to fail, miss a shot, miss a serve, to be able to improve your game. And it's exactly the same in whatever you're looking at in life. Sometimes we need to fail. You know what? Sometimes you can fail because you weren't strong enough, or skilled enough, or experienced or knowledgeable enough to handle whatever that was at the time. But now you might be. Try it again. Okay? So just means there's something more to learn. Okay? And number 6, probably the most important one, is it trains you to be fearless. If you keep failing and you understand, because what is confidence? What is confidence? Is your brain says, you've done it before, you can do it again. Didn't you know that whole thing about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? Okay? If you Once you've failed a few times at different things, you then learn. You then learn that it wasn't the end of you. Okay? So I've had two failed marriages, now I have a beautiful relationship. Okay? I've had a failed business and now my business is amazing and I'm so grateful for it. Okay? Just because you fail doesn't mean that you're not going to get stronger and stronger, and it's that fearlessness that allows you to show up as your true self. We need more women in the world that show up at full strength, at full capacity, as their full selves. I call it standing in your sacred ground. So you shouldn't shrink back and be small. Okay, because when you play small, the universe doesn't get to see you for who you truly are. And at the same time, don't puff up. Don't be like Bertie Big Whatsits, and like be full of bravado, because that's a little bit obnoxious. But you stand in your sacred ground as your truest self. Okay, and that's what failing repeatedly has allowed you to do. It's allowed you to stand there and say, "This is me. I am woman. Hear me roar." Really important. Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense to you. Don't be afraid of failing. First and foremost, because it keeps you small. It keeps you it keeps you afraid of putting yourself out there, and nobody needs that from you. Okay? All right, my darlings, take care. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please just subscribe. I would so appreciate that. Would really, really help me out. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.